Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Omega Files. I know it's been a long time, but there have been several missing episodes. Well, one we won't discuss. So tonight we're going to sit down and have a little talk about the latest remake. Well, there's only been one previous version of the movie It, based off the novel by Stephen King. Very interesting movie, I got to say. I never thought they'd find somebody as creepy as Tim Curry to do Pennywise, but damn, that's all I got to say. All right, so let's get to your guys' thoughts on it. So when I go ahead and say your name, go ahead and just hop right into your opening thoughts on the movie It. So let's start at the bottom. Let's start with Texas Tip.
Well, I thought it was good. I thought it was a very good film. I think it's I don't think it's wise to compare it to the original. The original was a TV miniseries. This is more of a theatrical film, which, interestingly enough, has a built-in sequel to follow. Even if it had flopped, which it wasn't going to, you wouldn't have even had to have the sequel. It's a standalone film on its own, even though it does have a built-in sequel into the story, which is pretty cool. I thought it was very well made, very well acted. I mean, it's pretty much a cast of nobodies at this point, a bunch of kid actors, and they were all pretty good in their parts. So, yeah, I think it was a success.
You're up, Graham. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I never heard
I turned my microphone on. Duh.
Never heard you there. Yeah, for me, I concur with Tim. When you first read about this, here we go, remake central again. But as Tim alluded to, obviously the 1990 movie was a two-part TV movie. But a lot of people have kind of reached remake fatigue at this point. But you're sitting there going, okay, how's this going to pan out? And with the exception of the kid for Stranger Things, you've got, like Tim alluded to, you've got a bunch of nobodies. This movie was always going to live or die, sink or swim by the strength of the kid actors that they cast. And fortunately, they've done a bang-up job. And the guy playing Pennywise, okay, it was more psychological and relied on a lot of jump scares. But hey, that's good horror for some folk. And this is a damn good remake. Bring on the sequel. Let's see if they can keep it up.
All righty. Let's move on over to William.
Hey, now, you doing, everybody? Just like everybody's saying, we all remember the 1990 miniseries, which was a television big thing at the time. And of course, remember being on TV, there's certain things you're not gonna get away with, like especially gore like that. And it was a successful miniseries. This movie, which was made on a $35 million budget, and right now it made over $600 million, it's a complete success. And I look forward for the sequel. But even if it was just a film by itself, it's a great movie. And I know maybe when we get there, we're gonna pick about the difference between the novel and this movie. But I'm not gonna get into the 1991 because it's a product of its time, and we all know that there's certain stuff that they couldn't get away with. So that's why. And it still was a successful miniseries. I liked it very much, and I every once in a while I look forward to watching it. The kids were great. I mean, besides like Graham said, the kid from Stranger Things, everybody stood out very well, and they played their role very good. I mean, it's a shame that that you don't hardly see any children being nominated for actors like that. But hopefully, they could get awarded as a group, maybe in the Screen Actors Guild or other awards like that. But because this is a movie that with all of them together made it such a success like that. I know everybody is talking about Skarsgård playing the role of Pennywise, different from Tim Curry, but we got to remember that this movie this movie is a movie, and that's why certain scenes, especially what happened to Bill's brother like that, was shown in the movie, and it was a sad scene to see, but remember it did happen in the book like that, and that was very sad to see. I know that some of us who watch YouTube videos like that, we have seen that there were certain scenes that was edited out that was not shown in the theater like that. And then looking at it, it feels a little bit more on Pennywise. And I think another scene was the missing girl that a sneaker was found in the sewer. We saw, I think, getting cut in half, which we saw later on in the building like that. But in the scene that was cut, she was actually shown cut. So luckily, it showed a little bit of gore, but it didn't go over the top. Thank God for that. Now, now we're gonna see that the sequel is gonna be with them as adults. And it has no names has been attached to the sequel yet. So we're gonna find out who's gonna be playing each of the roles like that. And I know we're gonna mention that each kid, the children character like that, like say the farmer kid Richie like that. Yeah, we're gonna get into that in a few minutes. But again, this movie is with all of them together, made it such a success like that. So even though each one stands out in certain spots like that, like the leader and the only girl like that, but all of them together made this film such a great success.
All righty. Okay, AJ.
Yeah, I saw the 1990 version many years ago, and I liked that version, except for the second half with the adults. I think most people think that the one with the adults wasn't as good for the second one. I didn't mind this version of the first part for it. The kids were good, except for Richie. I found him highly irritating. I loved I loved all the bits of blood and gore in this one, and also how Pennywise he's creepy, but he's not overly comedic like Tim Curry's. I mean, Tim Curry's was perfect; he was brilliant, but this one was a little bit more of a demonic clown take. I could see a lot of inspiration from the original one for Stranger Things. What was that other movie called?
Stand by me.
Sinister with Bagul, with the kids, a demon-like creature that feeds on these kids, and these kids are forced to kill their families. I see a lot of different inspirations from Stephen King's work, and it's good. I don't mind this one. Like I said, we'll get more into it and all the other bits later on, but yeah, it was a good story.
Alrighty. So yeah, a hell of an ensemble. I got to give them that much. The fact that they put this cast together. From what I've read about them, it's a bunch of relative unknowns. Bill Skarsgård, he comes from a whole family of actors. Heck, his father Stellan has been in the Avengers, also Thor and whatnot. His brother was. It's Alexander Skarsgård. He is known for True Blood. He played Eric Northman. But like I said, I never thought that my gosh, Tim Curry, he's Pennywise. They'll never replace him. But then this guy comes along and he's like 3 times creepier. He does a really good job at it. He's really captured, the creature aspect of that role. Also the fact that there's certain scenes where when you see Pennywise and all that, and it's like he's kind of like a puppet because, just the mannerism and all that, because it's just nothing more than a persona that this creature has picked up, or is imitating, or what do you call it, using to bring these kids in. But we're going to find out more about that, I'm assuming, in the next movie, as we did, in the 1990 version, where we found out more. We actually finally saw the creature behind, Pennywise later on, and I think that's what they're going to aim at in the second movie. What's going to be interesting, though, is who the hell are they going to cast to play these kids 27 years later? Are they going to be able to pick up the ball, as easily as these kids seem to have? Because they really did a good job with the kids in this movie. They're really good casting. All right, anybody else? The mic's wide open. Hop on in.
Well, I thought it was interesting that they moved the events about 30 years forward in this story versus the novel and the previous movie. It takes place in the 50s. And this time they moved it up to the 80s. I'm not sure why they did that, but it just means that when they have the sequel, it'll be taking place in like 2016 or 2017 versus what it was before. I mean, that's pretty cool. I also noticed too that of the 4 parents that we meet, 3 of them are abusing their children, which I thought was pretty messed up. I don't remember that from the novel. It probably is there.
It is in we don't know in the novel. I don't remember if Beverly's father was molested or not.
I think they implied it.
They implied it like that, but then it was never written that anything actually happened like anything physical happened in the novel, but it's implied by the way she thinks and the way she always avoided him like that.
Well, not only that, the bully's father, the cop, he's obviously trying to create a chip off the old block. I mean, because that kid's a bully, and then of course the mother that's trying to turn her kid into a hypochondriac. I mean,
yeah,
placebo.
That was in the novel too, and then the cop beating up his son. That was in the book too. That, and I'm shocked they didn't show that he hit his son so hard in the book, and I think he threw him across the closet. That for like a week he was pissing blood. So that was in the book, but it wasn't shown in the movie like that. So.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
So that was in the book. That's one of the things I remember from that book. Besides the what's not shown.
I know what you're referring to.
Yeah. We talk about that later.
I just want to pick up on AJ's point. You found Richie irritating. He was the best trucking thing about the movie for me, man.
Well, I think. Sorry, isn't that the point though? If it's an irritating kid, it's an irritating kid, and not every kid's going to be cool. You know, I think this was the uncool bunch, wasn't it? It was the kids that
the Losers Club. They call them the Losers Club.
Yeah. Then obviously you had the who was the name of the slightly, be careful how I phrase this in today's day and age, the slightly plump kid who was always going to the library.
Ben?
The one.
No. Oh, the one that liked the Beverly.
The one that was doing the poems and all that, and he get scarred with his first initial his name with a bully.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Haskam.
Yeah, okay. If that was Ben, then fine. But I found it interesting how, like, in a nice basic formula of a movie, or a psychological horror movie like this, they all have their own individual encounters with the clown. Before they come together and say, all right, shit's going down here, what do we do? I thought that was quite neat.
I thought it was interesting too how the group, it started out as basically 3 or 4 friends, and their group kept enlarging as the movie went on in a clever way, because they added the girl, they added the little fat kid, they added the black kid, they added, in other words, they became who they were as the movie went on. That was a pretty cool way to do it, I think.
Indeed.
Quick story.
Mike Hanlon, in the first movie, he was the guy who stayed in town and all that, and when everybody heard that they were doing this movie, they're like, oh my god, how dare they? And I'm like, I was kind of all excited for it, because when you do a TV movie, there's only so much you can put on TV before the censors start banging on your door and screaming bloody murder, and also you have to, you can only devote so much time, because you've got to leave time out for commercials and stuff like that. You've only got so much air time. Even though they did do, the part with the kids and the part with the adults, this movie can actually put a solid, that entire time, into this one era. Whereas the other one, it did, they could only do so much with TV, especially on the gore factor. You can't do half the stuff they did in this movie on television. No way.
Especially then. That was 1990. I mean, do you think, though, that had this been a cable series, if they tried to do it as a cable series rather than a feature film, would that have been?
Maybe on HBO.
On any of them now. I mean, we just had Mr. Mercedes, which was a King release. You had the F-bombs in there and stuff. I mean, in other words, the fact that it's TV now doesn't necessarily mean it's unadult. I mean, you can get away with a lot more on TV on these cable channels anyway.
But I don't know if the cable channel would have put up the budget that was put up for this movie, because there's a difference, because the movie was for $35 million. I don't know if any cable channel would have put up that kind of money.
It really depends, I guess, how much they want to commit to it. But I found it interesting what Brian referred to with regards to how much time they had to use. This movie was 2 hours and 8 minutes. That's a good solid chunk of change for a first part of a 2-part saga.
They only dealt with the 80s like that. Let's come the 5-month kid.
Yeah.
When he called Beverly when he called this actress name from the 80s, Molly
Ringwald.
Yeah, Molly Ringwald.
Who let Molly Ringwald join the group? Yeah.
What about?
Man.
But what was good is that the difference was like Mike. In the TV movie and in the novel, he was the one that was always in the library, and that's the time he stayed in the town when he was adult. So I don't know how they're gonna do it in the movie, because it seems like the chubby kid Ben was the one going to the library. So that means is he gonna be the one staying in town?
They might just switch one of the characters around for this adaptation, But I've got to give props to the design and the effects department, especially that scene with Beverly in the sink.
Oh, the
You
hair
know.
pulling.
Yeah, the hair pulling, down goes the hair. Then you get the measuring tape. Then you get the blood only the kids can see as a result of that, which I thought was pretty nifty.
Yeah, word is they did that as a tribute to the one scene from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh yeah,
With
Johnny Depp.
got pulled
Yeah,
into the waterbed.
yeah.
Yeah, so they kind of said it was kind of like a little thing with Wes Craven.
But that scene was in the book. And the kids was only the kids was able to see in it. That's why they helped clean it up the bathroom.
Yeah, but the rampaging fountain.
Oh yeah, and I was like, wow.
Like, go ahead, AJ.
I was just going to say, I really like in this movie how Derry actually has a history, and the history is not too similar from from Roanoke, the Lost Colony. You know, where the whole colony just disappears and there's no real rhyme or reason behind it.
Yeah,
I thought that was really cool. I don't know if that was in the book. I haven't gotten up to that book yet.
Well, in the book, the kids like sort of like put themselves in a trance or get high like that, and they go in the past to see how long Pennywise been around like that. So you see him in the 1800s and going back, and of course you see him that he's the enemy of the turtle that deals with the Dark Tower like that.
oh,
But
Cowabunga.
so that's a lot of things. I don't think they're gonna touch. I don't even think they're gonna show that in the sequel of this movie.
No, after that Tower movie bombed. No, I don't think so. But they chose to depict that in this movie through paintings and pictures and books, and
yeah, that's it.
That's how they done it in this one. But no, it's a really good adaptation, and it's 10 times better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, I love that effect how they had him come out of the screen. Like, oh, that was just scary as hell.
Was most of this movie supposed to be 3D? Because I could see a lot of 3D elements that was supposed to be.
I don't ever seen the commercial that it was a 3D film.
No.
It was. I mean, it might have been played in one of the 3D theaters, but I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, that scene where he was dancing towards the end of the movie, trying to.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
His head wasn't moving, but his body was moving. That was just really creepy as hell. How they did that all.
I think it was just shot that way to mess with your mind.
Yeah, I know, but his head was like perfectly still, like it was like on a rope or something.
That's what made it so cool. What's weird is that even though the kid that always that kept beating up the little kids, he was trying to kill them like that.
The guy with the kid with a knife.
Yeah. Henry. His just deserves was weird because that's not the way it happened in the book like that. And so I'm like, wow. And even in the TV movie and the book, he played a critical role when they're adults. So that's going to be weird how they're going to explain that.
Well, maybe they'll follow up on it. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he survived whatever happened in there. You never know.
Oh man, what a
didn't know well. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe it was reversed when the clown went AWOL, but
it'll be interesting to see how they approach the sequel. I mean, if it was just going to be all adult, like this was all kid, or will they have flashbacks, or will they like they did in the TV series, they kind of had them both going on at the same time. But here they've actually split it into two halves. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that.
That's true, especially because they're going to have more time to deal with. So they'll have plenty of time to fill. Praise has got to go as well to the young actress that played Beverly. I thought she was really good in this. The guy that played her father was just creepy as fuck. You wanted to just take him into a room with a guillotine and stick something in there and just I'll leave it at that. You know,
it was weird that when we saw Pennywise change to scare the kids, like the little
the different fears.
Yeah, like the little kid was in the room and that painting came out alive with the woman with the violin, that was a scary scene like that. But the thing is, in the book, I'm not talking about the TV, just the book. Each kid had a fear from either a movie character or a novel character that we either read or seen in the movie. Like one was afraid of the creature from the Black Lagoon, another one was afraid of the Wolfman, like that. And when I was checking the website, and I'm saying, of course they're not going to use these characters. You can't make up new versions of them because those are copyrighted characters. You can't put them in the movie. because each one of them is copyrighted by a different film studio like that.
Mm.
So using the woman in the painting, and of course
The
Penny,
leper.
the leper and all that. That was pretty good. It stood out. I was like, and it made me jump a couple of times like that. That was pretty nice. And I also liked in the room that when this guy was in the room with all those different clown toys and all that, and pictures and all that, there was a Tim Curry Pennywise in the back like that, and a small one like that. That stood out pretty cool. I said, look at that. They even had one there. That was nice.
In that scene, sorry.
There you go, Adrian.
I was going to say, in that scene outside where they were talking about what their fears were, what Pennywise kept showing up as, when Richie said he was afraid of clowns, does that mean he chose the form of the Destroyer?
Probably.
Ghostbusters reference.
Ghostbusters.
I don't know. They saw that movie yet. I gotta check on that.
No, not the new one, the old one, the original.
Yeah, Gozer. But that's an interesting point. I found it interesting how they all had their own specific backstories. Beverly had the issues with her old man. The black kid, I forgot his name, he had the issue where his parents fried to death in the house.
Well, his parents was killed and he was raised by his grandfather.
Yeah. And he wouldn't even kill a sheep right at the beginning, and now he's chucking the bully down a well. Go figure.
And then hypochondriac with Eddie, that's his name, Eddie.
The placebo pill boy, yeah.
Yeah, which is unusual in the TV movie and book. He didn't find out about that till he was an adult that all that was fake. He didn't realize that till an adult.
Oh, that's what happens when you get Mama June as a mama, yeah.
Oh man.
I find it's really weird that the parents are more messed up than the kids, and they're trying to mess up their own kids as well in this movie, because it feels like Eddie's mum was more of a Munchausen's by proxy sort of person. If she would have poisoned her own kid for that purpose, she probably would have done that.
Do you think that's why they moved it forward 3 decades? Because
possibly.
I don't think you would have had those problems in the 50s, or if you did, you wouldn't talk about them. Whereas by the 80s, you had people being prescribed medicine for everything. I mean, it was just like, that's when it all started. That's why we're where we are now. But.
Yeah, you know what? This movie's actually caught in a good way. But I said last night, when we were talking, it's come out slap bang right at the exact correct time. You've got the growing popularity of Stranger Things, which coincidentally enough is also the 80s. And this movie's coming slap bang in the middle of 2 seasons of that. So it's the whole nostalgia thing, and it's just clicked into the psyche of the film girl.
Not only that, there's a million Stephen King adaptations going on at once, which is great. Yeah. Well, why not?
Yeah, you gotta get props. I gotta get props. I'm gonna keep saying that. I gotta get props to the kids because they did a wonderful job in the movie. And besides the kid from Stranger Things, we're gonna see him in another month or so in the season 2. I like to see whichever. Your time, my time. I'd like to see what other projects these kids are going to be doing next. What other things they're going to be doing. Because they got some talent, man. You got to give them props for that. You don't see that many ensemble like that. They all work so good.
I've got to say, for me, one of the funniest scenes in the movie was when they get to the pharmacy. They try and get all the knickknacks they need to sew up the fat kid. And they're in this alley trying to, right, doctor, whatever it was, get in there,
Suck the wound.
Yeah, suck the wound, and he's putting on the British accent. Oh, man. Good stuff.
I like towards the end when they're gearing up to go into the house to go after Pennywise, and you see Richie picks up a beer bottle and smashes it, and he's like, what the hell am I going to do with this? And just throws it.
Yeah, and especially right at the end where Richie just goes ballistic. He offers him the ultimatum, leave, let me go with Billy, that's it, and you can all live. And he's like, you've done this to me, you've done that to me, you've done this to me, and he just picks up the baseball bat. I'm going to have to kill this effing clown.
Yeah, I remember previously when they faced Pennywise before that, and this kid went through the hole to the table below, and they said, don't touch me, and they popped his arm back. I'm like, oh, I remember that, man. Happened to me too. Like, oh, I felt sorry for him, man.
But 20 minutes later, Zeno getting the face sucked out of him as well. That kid went through a lot in this movie, man. Jeez.
No, I think the one with the one that broke his arm. That was the Foulmouth kid.
No, it was.
No, it wasn't it. That was the placebo kid boy. Because Mama June came and got him. Yeah.
Oh, that was who was that one? Forgot his name.
Can't
Yeah,
remember.
we're doing well here, aren't we?
No, I think was it Eddie? Eddie. It was Eddie. It was Eddie. Eddie. Okay, Eddie. That's why.
The
And
one
then-
thing I found, sorry.
No, you're right.
The
It
one
is
thing
Eddie.
I found really creepy that the actor for Pennywise did was he actually could roll his eyes in 2 different directions. So every time he saw that happening, that was actually him doing it.
Damn.
Like, he could go like back that way, and I think he even could go slightly up or down.
I tell you, his father must have slapped him in the back of the head a bunch of times.
Tim's not getting a break tonight.
Okay, the one thing we're gonna have to bring up is, of
Yep.
course, thank goodness it was not done or mentioned or attempted, was the sex scene that happened in the novel between Beverly and the kids. I'm like, thank goodness they didn't show it. This is not. I mean, when it came out in '86, that was
Are we
back
talking
then.
Billy here, or are we talking the fat kid? I'm confused.
All of them. She said all of them.
Oh, okay.
Go get the book and read it, and you find out what I'm talking about.
I've not read the book in months, years. I've been on to get back.
To bring that up. Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
So
thank
she
God
really-
that it.
So
I'm
she really
glad.
was a valid
I'm-
bike. Yeah, you know.
I'm glad it wasn't brought up. I'm glad it wasn't done. It wasn't even needed there. So thank goodness for that. That's the same thing they did in 1990. They didn't do it then. It wasn't brought up. So that was good. I'm glad they didn't bring it up. I was a little bit nervous because this movie was rated R. Like, oh man.
Talk about the Hyman maneuver. Yeah,
I'm
there
like,
you go.
I got a little nervous like that. Like, shoot. So I'm glad it wasn't done.
yeah, I still can't figure out why they even put that back in the book. But
Back in? You mean it removed?
I could have swore in the first version I read of it, and like I said, I'm going off memory here, that scene was not in there. But later on, when I read the unabridged one, and then I listened to it again in audio, all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, I don't remember this being there before.
There you go.
Oh, what the hell? I'm shocked he didn't get, hauled out of his house and drawn and quartered, dragged down the road by a chain, given, that type of stuff.
Somebody did try to run him over, so I guess that was.
Well, yeah.
That was just a drunk idiot. But
that's what Stephen King excels at, though. He'll pick a situation that makes you really extremely uncomfortable when you're reading it or watching the film, or you know what I mean. He'll think of something that is going to really make you uncomfortable. Like think about it. Pet Cemetery. Okay, you bury your pet, it dies. You bury it, but then it comes back. But it's not just quite right, is it? It's a bit off. I mean, it's like that. That's a brilliant idea for a story. And that's what he excels at, I think.
He takes the mundane and makes it fantastical as well in most of his stories.
Luckily, he's still writing books now.
I know. I just finished listening to Sleeping Beauties, last week, that he wrote with his son Owen. And like I said, he really good book. He's still on top form, Sure, there was a while there for it seemed like, we were getting around to the point that it was going to be the evil lamp monster. But, to me, he really hasn't lost it. He's able to go into these places that normal people just wouldn't even think about. It's really weird. But, ask him where he gets the ideas and he'll just, give you a roundabout answer. It's like they just come to him. So yeah, a lot of weirdness in this story. Like I said, I was glad they did it as a movie because you can get away with stuff in a movie that you can't get away with on television. There's no way in hell you're going to get away with half this stuff on television. Plus, like I said, the kids were fantastic. Great ensemble for the movie. And plus, another thing they portrayed very well that was also in the book was the fact that it seems that the people in this town, whether they know it or not, are in on this. Because notice when, the stuff was happening with Georgie, there was that one lady who was right there on her porch and then just turned around and walked the other way.
Never saw that. Yeah.
Do
When,
you think
Ben, or not, I think it's Ben, the fat kid. He's getting that thing carved into his belly. Car.
Oh yeah, the car drove away. Yeah.
Keep going.
Do you think that's part of the Beastie's power, though, that people just tend to turn away from? Because you have the missing posters too. These kids keep disappearing. It only happens every 27 years or whatever. And it's like, do you think that's part of its power over the town? That they just turn a blind eye.
Mm.
Yeah, they hint at that in the book too. That it just that it's something creepy going on in this town, and everybody, whether they know one or not, are in on it. It's just they just don't want to acknowledge it. Like like in the TV movie, it was Mike who brought it up in class about he had seen the pattern, and then the teacher just shuts him up and says, "Okay," basically changes the subject. And it's come on, if a kid in this movie, I think it was Ben. In this movie, he found this out just by going to the library. Meanwhile, you got all these adults, you got kids coming up missing every so many years, and nobody sees it or nobody wants to see it. All right, AJ, go ahead. You had your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just remembered, I saw something in the movie I didn't see the first time. When Ben's in the library the second time, after the first encounter Pennywise, there's a painting he turns and looks at, and it's a painting of a woman standing in a field with a well, and she's holding a baby over the well. And my way of thinking of looking at that painting is maybe the town actually does know about it. They built on the town and then how to deal with Pennywise. We'll feed you these kids every so many years, and the rest of the people you leave it alone. Maybe that's why.
That could be why. I remember that's when the kids saw that well in that building downstairs. So that well, that's the original well. So that's probably it.
Yeah, I just thought I brought that up because I forgot about that painting until you said about the town.
Hopefully they bring it up when they be adults. That'd be interesting to see how they follow up to that.
Yeah, I mean, interesting you say, it happens every 27 years. We Easter egg there, 27 years between both the movies, or the two adaptations as well. But I'll be interested to see where they go with the sequel, that's for sure.
Well, your point about that, though, why would the town be in on a sacrifice of children? I mean, what's the advantage? If you didn't like it, couldn't you just move?
Well, you've got like the movie Silent Hill as well, where they try to sacrifice a child to bring about their god and so on. I mean,
They say that town was very successful. It grew fast. It grew a lot of wealth like that. So probably it has something to do with that like that.
Yeah, the kid he does the research in the library. He sees all these photos from the. Never mind.
He's not having a good night.
By 1 minute.
Yeah.
No, but remember that's what the kid was showing in the library. Like the town was a successful town. It bring a lot of people there. It bring a lot of jobs there. But like when the agent was bringing about the original, you can say the Puritans or whatever from back then, that was their signing. And then the painting, the picture you see Pennywise there too. So that tells you probably they did a contract with him that far back. Was Pennywise always in that same location, or was he brought in differently? No, remember, but he's not from this universe. He's from another universe. That's the thing. So how they're going to touch on that?
Movie, it's also like that movie Phantoms. I think it's called with Ben Affleck.
I remember something. I think I remember that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that one a very long time ago. Yeah, Ben Affleck, Rose McGowan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the town is built on this ancient evil or whatever it is, and everyone in the town just disappears.
Yeah.
Sorry to keep bringing up other references, but I keep getting the vibes,
Yeah, maybe somebody who did that movie read it and just copied some of that idea.
Actually, it's based on a book, I believe, by Clive Baker, I think.
Clive Barker.
Sorry. I believe.
Gotta look it up.
You want to finish your point, Tim?
I forgot what it was.
Oh, okay.
About the town and the having an agreement with the from the
Well, yeah, the kid does the research and he finds out that this thing's been going on every 20 some odd years for a while, and that's part of the mystery of the book too. Is that why is it only that time? But if that's because this thing feeds on all these kids' fear or whatever, and then it goes and like a bear, it just crawls back into its cave and hibernates for 27 years.
Yeah.
And then when it wakes up hungry and does the same thing over again. But they don't really explain why. Like you said, maybe that's something they'll address in the second film or something. Because I'm guessing if they're adults, the beastie isn't going to be that interested in them. He only goes for kids.
No, because because when the kids are afraid, their meat are more soft and more juicy like that. When they're afraid, that's to come when this kid hit with the baseball bat. He wasn't afraid of him. That's like when Beverly when he grabbed Beverly, she wasn't afraid of him no more. He was like smelling her. He couldn't smell that freshness no more because she stood up to him like that.
That's how they defeated it in the film, because they weren't afraid anymore. They realized that being afraid was gonna get them killed. So they like you said, they stepped up. So I just wonder how appealing the adults are going to be to this thing. Obviously, it's going to start feeding on kids again to begin with when they come back. So
you get the Blood Brothers oath at the end of the movie. You know, give me your own. All right, see you in 27 years.
Am I the only one who wants to see the Winchesters go up against it?
Winchester.
Sorry. The Winchesters, yeah. So overall, very interesting film, very well done. Special effects incredible, cast, very, very good. Like I said, it's a lot better. Like I said, because we've seen how sometimes King adaptations just kind of don't hit the mark.
Tommy Knockers,
yeah.
That are classics. Everybody still talks about The Shining. Everybody still talks about Carrie. And stuff like that. There's some that just, hit it very, like Pet Cemetery, they just hit it right on the mark, but then there's a few that kind of don't.
The Langoliers.
The Langoliers, the Tommy.
Lately, they've been good though, haven't they? I mean, that Gerard's Game, that was a no-brainer. I mean, that's a one set film. It's so cheap to make, and yet they waited all this time to do it on Netflix, and it's a very good film. I mean, it's creepy as hell. And good.
No, I'm just going to say, and I for one can't wait to see what they do with Castle Rock.
Yeah. Matter of fact, Bill Skarsgård has a role in Castle Rock. It won't be as Pennywise, but he is. Also, 1922 was just released on Netflix this month, and that's another King story. And I'm kind of looking forward to see, how well they adapted it. That was a pretty twisted story in itself if you've read it. But okay, anything else before we move on and call this one a day?
No, I can't think of nothing now.
I think we covered it pretty good. So okay, let's start at the bottom and start with Texas Tim. Out of 10, how do you rate it 2017?
9.5.
All righty.
Keep them coming though. Keep them coming.
Okay, William?
I'm going to give it the same thing, 9.5 out of 10. It's a great movie.
All right, Graham?
As Mickey Rock once did to Kim Basinger, 9.5.
Hey, okay, AJ?
I'm going to give it a 9.
I'm going to give it a 9.5 also. There was, very little they could have done to improve. It's just a hair shy of a 10, but it's a really good movie. Definitely worth the watch. I'm definitely going to probably pick it up on like Blu-ray when it does come out, just to get all the, see all the extras, see how they did this thing. Okay, since we've got that all done and over with, it's been a long time since I've done a top 10, so what the hell, let's do one. All right, tonight's topic for the shits and giggles of it. Now, earlier, not too long ago, they released the 50th anniversary celebration thing from Big Finish of Captain Scarlet. And I was sitting there, I finished listening to it, and then suddenly it popped into my head. There's a lot of things I've picked up from Jerry Anderson over the years. Here are the top 10 signs you have watched too many Jerry Anderson programs. So insert drum roll here. All right. Number 10. You are no longer welcome at family functions for telling the kids that the moon is a hologram since the real one was blown out of orbit on September 13th, 1999. Okay, number 9. You've been banned from the conspiracy theory forum since you posted that 9/11 was a retaliation attack by the Mysterions for the destruction of their Martian complex. All right. Number 8. You keep calling the FAA and telling them the missing Malaysian flight was shot down by the Aquamphibians. Number 7. You honestly believe that Trump is the best effect ever in supermarionation. All right, number 6. I think I was on number 6. Called Coast to Coast AM and told George Norrie that chemtrails are actually afterburner residue left by the Thunderbirds. Number 5. Told your therapist that you had periods of missing time from your childhood that make you believe that you were Joe 90. Number 4. Have made Facebook memes stating that the missing $6 trillion in the U.S. defense budget was used to fund Shadow. Number 3. You were caught multiple times searching for leaked nude photos of the Spectrum Angels on the internet. Number 2, you're laughed at by Star Wars fans for boasting that Sergeant Major Zero had way more skills than R2-D2. And the number 1 way you can tell you've watched way too many Jerry Anderson programs, you end all your cell phone calls and tweets with SIG. So a little thing I threw in there, because that was ringing in my head, because, just to show you how much he's influenced the world, the media, and whatnot. Okay, well, folks, that's all we got for tonight. When we have the next subject, I'll let you know. So take care, ta-ta, enjoy the rest of your weekend. See you on the flip side.
Night-night, Georgie.